What's going on, guys? Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Um, have had a great time with family and friends. Unfortunately, we did not get any college football on Thanksgiving. Usually, the Egg Bowl, which is Mississippi State versus Ole Miss, is um, Mississippi State versus Ole Miss is on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving night. That was the thing. After the NFL games, usually besides the NFL night game. Um, you got Ole Miss and you got Mississippi State, which is a big rivalry. Although I know people see that now, and they're like, "Oh, Mississippi State's not good. Ole Miss is, you know, much better." But yeah, no, that game has been moved to today. Okay, at 3:30. I know a lot of people are not happy about that. Usually, like I said, usually it's Thanksgiving night. That's tradition. Tradition is being broken in this game. But it's a Friday game. There's other games today I'm going to talk about, like Oklahoma State, Colorado, and Georgia Tech. But let me start here with the Egg Bowl. Playoff implications here. Ole Miss is probably going to beat Mississippi State. I don't know, as of right now, Mississippi State, I know the quarterback is okay. He's young. The coach, it's hard to recruit Mississippi State. I really... I just think it's really extremely hard to recruit Mississippi State. So that coach has a lot of work to do with that program. Not like it was in good hands before, but like I said, that guy's a lot of work to do there. I think they need to update the stadium a little bit. In the SEC, you can't have one end zone with no seats, so they need to update the stadium somewhat. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Mississippi State right now. But Ole Miss, like I said, is a much better team. I need Ole Miss to lose, actually, because South Carolina, say we win, Ole Miss loses, we jump them in the playoff, college football playoff, but that's likely not to happen. I have Ole Miss big in this game, okay? They got I'm not going to say embarrassed, but they lost to Florida last week. People thought they were going to win. Personally, DJ Lagway from Florida, pretty outstanding freshman quarterback. He hasn't lost a game when he starts the full game. Because remember, Florida was doing the dual quarterback, where a guy plays the first quarter, Lagway plays the second quarter, so on and so on. Then Graham Mertz gets hurt, Lagway takes over. He's playing well in the Georgia game, he gets hurt. So when he plays the full game, Florida has not lost. That's how talented DJ Lagway is. So Ole Miss losing to Florida last week, to my eyes, is no shock. But people were shocked about it. And Jackson Dart did not look great. But in this game against Mississippi State, chance to rebound, right? I think he does that. I think Ole Miss blows out Mississippi State, but I hope they don't, but, I think they will. Next game I'm going to talk about, Oklahoma State versus Colorado, because, listen, it's Colorado. You got to talk about them. Deion, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders. The stars are out with that team. They're playing Oklahoma State, who's not very good. And I know people are like, oh, you see Oklahoma State, right? And you think consistency. Mike Gundy, he's been there. I know they're, now the Big 12 is open. Everyone at the beginning of the year, Oklahoma State can do some damage, and they're having a down year. Their quarterback was like 40 going in. I really don't know what they're doing with that. Obviously, they're going to bring a new quarterback next year. But Oklahoma State's not very good. Colorado just lost to Kansas last week. Once again, that was upset. But Kansas is very talented, and they weren't healthy, and they lost a lot of games close. So Kansas kind of figured out a little too late, but that's a bad loss for Colorado, I guess. But I don't know. I don't really see it as a bad loss. I think Kansas is a pretty talented team. Colorado on the road, I don't know. But I think Colorado is going to win big over Oklahoma State. I don't think Oklahoma State's very good. I think Colorado's too much for them. Give me the Buffaloes, man. Big. I'm going to say like 34-14, something like that, around there. And then another big game today with playoff implications. Georgia Tech. I know Georgia's going to be in the SEC championship game could be Texas, possibly. I'm going to talk about that game, going forward. But Georgia Tech, okay? Clean old-fashioned hate. That's what they call this game. Both teams do not like each other in my lifetime. Georgia's always been better than, for the most time, Georgia's been better than Georgia Tech. Same thing goes this year. Still a rivalry game. They do not like each other at all. Okay, I know people who aren't familiar with college football. Oh my God, these rivalries, there's so much hatred. It's the school. The whole school hates, Georgia Tech hates Georgia. Not just the team, they hate the school itself. Okay, Georgia, same thing about Georgia Tech. They hate them. Okay, so but I got to go with Georgia here. Although I want Georgia to lose, kind of for my sake, for South Carolina. Hopefully, that helps us in the college football playoff race. But I don't know. I think Georgia's just too much for Georgia Tech, man. In my eyes, Georgia's the best team in the SEC. I know they lost to Bama, and then they lost to they beat Texas. They beat the brakes off Texas on the road. They lost to Bama and Ole Miss. Ole Miss just was lights out that game. I don't know what's going on. But Ole Miss played a great game. Georgia did not play a great game. Carson Beck was kind of going through it. Wasn't playing well, but I think he kind of figured it out. Kirby Smart's a great coach. Georgia's been rolling since he's been there. Kind of his first year was a little rocky, but taking over a new program. Ever since then, Georgia's been a consistent top 10 team. I got Georgia here, man. I think, like I said, Georgia's the best team in the SEC. They might, I say this again, they may win big. But give me Georgia here. Now, moving on to Saturday. I have 2 games highlighted here. Right? In my notes. Upset alert. Notre Dame, you are on upset alert. And I'm usually good with these. I called Florida back-to-back weeks. I said Florida LSU, Florida Ole Miss. Upset alert. Notre Dame versus the fraudulent University of Southern California Trojans. I'm not going to call them what other people call them. They're University of Southern Cal. Okay? The real USC always will be, always has been in Columbia, South Carolina. Let me just get that straight. All right? But Southern Cal, listen, they've been scratching and clawing for that big win, right? Should have beaten Penn State. I guess LSU is a big win, neutral site, whatever. They should have beaten Penn State. A bunch of close losses they had. Notre Dame is just getting by, right? They're playing military academies. They lost to Northern Illinois, but they beat A&M with Weigman was in there at quarterback. First game of the year, A&M was kind of not the A&M that we're seeing lately, even though A&M just had an egregious loss to Auburn, but we'll talk about that going forward. But, Notre Dame, you're on upset alert. I'm warning you now, okay? So you guys better buckle up your chin strap, get ready to play. This is rivalry week, right? Like I said, these teams do not like each other at all. So I just think Notre Dame's not as good as people think they are, and Southern Cal could beat them, okay? Like I said, upset alert. Can't say definitively Southern Cal is going to beat Notre Dame, but I think there is a very, very great chance, okay? Another team on upset alert, Miami, okay? The U versus Syracuse and going to the Carrier Dome, all right? Listen, Cuse, pack the dome. Get rowdy, right? Miami, let's been skating by, man. Skating by. Okay, obviously, they beat Florida, who, at the time wasn't what they are now. They didn't have Lagway playing. Okay, they weren't rolling. They barely beat Louisville. Louisville's pretty solid. They did beat Clemson, so I'll give them that. They win, but they're always close in these games with these inferior teams, and then they kind of pull away in the end. If Miami's legit, they'll go up to Syracuse and beat the brakes off them. That's what I think. I think if Miami is that good, they'll go up to Syracuse and beat the absolute brakes off them. But I have them on upset alert. Syracuse at home. I like that new coach up there. Once again, very hard to recruit Syracuse. You really got to get a guy that can develop talent up there. But I got Miami on upset alert versus Syracuse. Okay, come on. Let's go. Cuse. This is your chance to shine, kinda, I feel. Chance to have a big win. I know Syracuse has been pretty solid this year, but they need that big win. Miami, they lose, they're out, right? Clemson doesn't have an ACC game left. So if Miami loses, Clemson's in the ACC championship. No matter what they do against South Carolina, if Miami loses, Clemson is in. I maybe want Miami to win, but they're on upset alert. In my eyes, they're on upset alert. Miami, better buckle up your chin strap. Get ready for Syracuse. All right, 2 major games this Saturday. 2 of the biggest games this Saturday. We have this rivalry returning, Texas versus Texas A&M in College Station. Man, this might be I'm not going to say the best game, but it's going to be a great game. All right, they haven't played this game. Think how long this game hasn't been played. I think I said it in my last video. Justin Tucker was the kicker for Texas. He made the winning kick. Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback at Texas A&M before Johnny Manziel. Okay? They haven't played this game in 13 years. 13 years. That's insanity. This is a game that needed to be played every year. It was huge for the state of Texas, huge for college football. The amount of viewers it got was insane. Okay? So I'm glad this game is back. It's in College Station. Texas hasn't played anybody or beaten anybody. They lost to Georgia at home, and everyone's like, oh, Texas is this, Texas is that. Finally, they're going to a hostile environment. All right. Texas A&M, the 12th man is going to be live. Texas A&M, I mean, South Carolina's already ahead of them. We beat the brakes off them. We both have 3 losses, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But Shane, I don't know. This game is a tough game to predict here. A&M is known to choke. That's my only thing. I can't trust A&M. Spioli, shout out to you, man. You're a big A&M fan. It's not the toughest team to be a fan of, but they're kind of predictable. This is a game A&M loses. All right? This is a game A&M loses. Straight up. Okay, but if A&M wins this game, I'm almost positive they're in the SEC Championship. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if A&M wins this game, they're in the SEC Championship, which is crazy. They lost to South Carolina. They lost to Auburn just recently, which is a terrible, terrible loss. God-awful loss to Auburn. Spioli, what are the Aggies doing? I know Saban said, oh, that stadium's haunted. Yeah, but the team is terrible. The team is god-awful. I'm not even talking about the Iron Bowl. I should be. I think Alabama's going to win the Iron Bowl, so there's my prediction there. But like I said, A&M, you can't lose to Auburn on the road. I don't care, if whoever's quarterbacking for that terrible Auburn team, but like I said, you lost to Auburn. So you had everything going for you, man, and you blew it. But A&M's got to be Texas. You know what I'm going to do here? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take A&M. Spioli, I'm going to take your Aggies. Okay? In College Station. Been talking about this game with my dad all week. I had Texas. Going into this video, I had Texas. But guess what? I'm changing my mind. Texas A&M steps up. Elko changing the culture there. Changing the culture. Physicality, right? Being tough. When you get down, you got to fight. A&M, come on. Listen, everybody's talking about Texas this, Texas that. Ewers, Sarkisian, he's got sunglasses on looking all pretty. Listen, coming to College Station, you got to strap up your chin strap. We all know that, all right? So I have A&M at home beating Texas, all right? You may disagree. I think you know what? It's going to be a field goal game. I think the A&M kicker makes a big field goal to win the game versus Texas. I got the Aggies. All right, last but not least, we have South Carolina versus Clemson. Okay, notice I didn't say Clemson. All right, there's no P in Clemson. All right, everybody, that's Clemson fans always say Clemson. Clemson, it's Clemson. Clemson. All right. Cade Klubnik, this guy, he's an absolute horn dog. He's texting girls to take their shirts off and stuff in class. I mean, that's just insanity, but we're not going to talk about that, even though I just did. This is a huge game for both teams. There's playoff implications here. South Carolina wins, put the pressure on the committee, they get in. Clemson wins. Can they sneak in? Right? I mean, listen, I know Clemson hasn't beaten anybody. They beat South Carolina. This is a really good South Carolina team. In my eyes, this is one of the most talented South Carolina teams I've ever seen. Okay? So, this game has playoff implications. Beamer said it in one of his interviews that get used to it. He said South Carolina's not going anywhere. Clemson's not going anywhere. So, I don't know. This game is, I really want to beat the brakes off Clemson. I want to embarrass them. I really want to beat this team to a pulp. But I know at Clemson, they're going to be fired up. We're going to be fired up. There's matchups I don't like for South Carolina, like our O-line versus their defense. And there's matchups I like for South Carolina, which is our defense against really their receivers, our DBs against receivers, and our D-line against their O-line. That's a great matchup for us. But they also have that matchup on the other side. So, listen, I think this game is going to be a low-scoring game. All right? I think South Carolina is the more talented team. I'd be lying to myself if I said Beamer's a better coach than Dabo. Dabo is he's a better coach than Beamer. I think Beamer's got a lot of learning to do still. He's recruiting well. He's kind of, figuring out his team, how to coach. But Dabo's a much better coach. I don't see Clemson making many mistakes. South Carolina is prone to making mistakes. The talent at South Carolina is there. Defensively, quarterback, running back, receivers are kind of figuring out. But the talent at South Carolina is there to possibly be a championship team going, as long as we figure it out on defense next year. But this team does make mistakes. And even when South Carolina was good under Spurrier, always made stupid mistakes. I don't want that for South Carolina this week, but you gotta know they're gonna make some mistake here and there. I think it's a close game. I really do. I think both teams are evenly matched. This is the first time in a while they're evenly matched. Even when we beat them 2 years ago, I thought Clemson was by far the better team. Clemson just had DJ Oogly Boogly quarterback, and he was terrible. So, with that being said, I'm taking the Gamecocks, baby. 9-3. All right, 9-3, great season. Great season if my prediction is correct. Even 8-4, pretty solid season. But 9-3, good season. Okay, we end it beating Clemson. I got a score like 20-17, 20-14, 21-17, something in that range there. I think last year I was at the game. Clemson barely moved the ball. South Carolina was just terrible. It was 16-7. Clemson made like four. Had a defensive touchdowns and four 50-yard field goals. It was just ridiculous at that point. Clemson didn't even get in the red zone, and they won. So that's how bad South Carolina was that game. I banned myself from Williams-Brice after seeing two of the worst games played by South Carolina in the last 10 years. The Ole Miss game this year and the Clemson game last year. So I need to ban myself from the stadium, I think, because I'm bad luck. But I got Carolina beating Clemson. I said Clemson. I got Carolina beating Clemson. And I just think, the committee has to look at South Carolina, right? And just, say, hey, man, these guys are rolling if we win. If we win, they're rolling. We got to put them in, right? They are one of the best teams in the nation. We got to get them in. But personally, I know how people view South Carolina. They're not going to think that we're that much. They're going to, they're not going to put us in no matter what. It's hard if you're a 3-loss team. They're already talking Ole Miss and Bama because, listen, Ole Miss and Alabama beat South Carolina. So that's what the committee's going to see. You're like, oh, God, these guys don't deserve to get in. But if we win, I think the committee has to have a conversation about South Carolina. So that's just my take. I hope you guys enjoy this rivalry week. Enjoy, this weekend of football. It's going to be a great weekend. I didn't even talk about the Michigan-Ohio State game because I don't think Michigan's that great. I think Ohio State's very good, and I think Ohio State rolls Michigan. So that's my take on these things. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. Follow the 46 Show on Instagram. I do have an Instagram account. I do post on my main account my videos and stuff like that. But I do want to start getting something going. I don't know what I'm saying here. But I do want to blow this thing up. Like I said, I love doing these videos. I think my content is great, but I just don't have the viewership yet. But anyways, you guys have a great day. I will have in the next video, me and my man Jeff Spioli, we're going to break down the college football playoff and the different bowl games. All right. Anyways, 46 out.